Understanding envy. What is envy? Envy is a complex and often hidden emotion, one that can be deeply rooted in our perceptions of others and ourselves. It frequently arises from comparison, a sense of lacking something that another person seems to have, be it success, beauty, status, or happiness. Unlike admiration, where we appreciate and might aspire to emulate someone's achievements, envy carries an undercurrent of resentment. It's the feeling that we're somehow less because someone else seems to be more. The experience of envy is as universal as it is varied. On the milder end, it may feel like a brief pang of jealousy, a fleeting moment where someone else's new car or promotion makes us wish for similar luck. But on the other end of the spectrum, envy can become toxic, manifesting as a pervasive bitterness that taints not only the relationship but also the envious person's own outlook and behavior. Toxic envy tends to breed hostility and distance in relationships, often leading to hidden or overt attempts to undermine the envied person. This kind of envy doesn't just hurt the individual feeling it, it also damages connections and creates a hostile or unsupportive environment. Signs of envy. Recognizing envy in others requires careful attention to subtle behaviors and communication patterns. Envy rarely announces itself directly, and it's often shrouded in well-hidden expressions, such as humor, passive-aggressive remarks, or lukewarm praise. Here are some key signs. 1. Subtle put-downs. Envious individuals may disguise their envy as humor or helpful criticism. Instead of offering open and direct insults, they make remarks that are framed as jokes or minor criticisms. This is often called negging in social circles. For example, if someone buys a new house, a friend might say, "Well, I guess some people just love the extra responsibility." The comment sounds innocuous but leaves the recipient feeling diminished. Such comments are designed to poke holes in the happiness or pride of others, giving the envious person a sense of relief from their own insecurities. These put-downs are often followed by a smile or laugh, as if to say, "Don't take it seriously, I was just kidding." However, when examined closely, these jokes often reveal more about the speaker's hidden feelings. 2. Backhanded compliments. A backhanded compliment sounds positive on the surface but carries a negative undertone that leaves the recipient with mixed feelings. Envious individuals might say something like, "Wow, you actually look good in that outfit," or "I never thought you'd get promoted so soon." These compliments may initially sound like praise, but on closer inspection, they reveal underlying resentment or disbelief. Backhanded compliments are particularly common in social and professional circles where direct negativity might be frowned upon. They allow the envious person to express their feelings indirectly, preserving their own image while subtly diminishing the other person's accomplishments. 3. Withholding support or praise. Envious individuals often struggle to sincerely congratulate others or share in their joy. Instead of openly celebrating someone else's achievements, they offer lukewarm responses or try to downplay the accomplishment. For instance, if someone announces a big promotion, the envious friend might respond with a muted, "That's nice," or change the subject quickly. They might even suggest that the accomplishment isn't as impressive as it seems, saying things like, "Well, it's just a small step up," or "It's not like you're CEO now." This withholding of support can be subtle yet powerful, creating an atmosphere where the achiever feels isolated or unworthy. The envious person's refusal to engage in positive reinforcement often stems from their discomfort with others' success, which forces them to confront their own perceived shortcomings. Case study: a story of subtle envy. To illustrate how envy can manifest in subtle ways, let's follow the story of two friends, Emma and Sarah. Emma and Sarah had been friends since college. They shared laughs, study sessions, and countless late-night conversations about their dreams. Both were ambitious but took different paths after graduation. Sarah chose a stable corporate job, while Emma, more risk-inclined, pursued a career in art. Over the years, they kept in touch, supporting each other from a distance as they navigated adulthood. One day, Emma's art career took a surprising leap. After a few years of struggle, she landed a major gallery exhibit and received recognition in a prominent art magazine. Excited, she shared the news with Sarah. "Sarah, I can't believe it. I'm going to have my first solo exhibition at the Egan Gallery. Can you believe it? Sarah's initial response was subdued. She managed a smile, saying, "Wow, that's unexpected. I mean, I always thought you'd make it eventually." Emma noticed the faint hesitation but brushed it off as surprise. She knew her path had been unconventional, and maybe Sarah just needed a moment to process the news. As the days passed and Emma's success gained more attention, Sarah's reactions grew colder. Whenever Emma brought up the exhibit or the magazine article, Sarah would respond with comments like, "You know, sometimes these things are more about who you know than actual talent." She'd laugh after saying it, making it seem like a light-hearted remark, but it left Emma feeling a pang of doubt. Then came the backhanded compliments. At a mutual friends gathering, someone congratulated Emma on her achievements. Sarah chimed in, saying, "Yeah, it's great that she's finally getting some recognition. I mean, it took long enough, right?" The comment, meant to sound supportive, left Emma with mixed feelings. It felt like an acknowledgement wrapped in a subtle dig at her past struggles. Over time, Sarah also began withholding praise entirely. When the exhibition finally opened, Emma invited her close friends, including Sarah. While most people were genuinely excited and effusive in their praise, Sarah merely nodded and said, "It's nice." She barely glanced at the art on display, spending most of the evening talking to others or looking at her phone. Emma felt a growing sense of isolation, sensing Sarah's discomfort but unsure how to address it. The final blow came a few weeks later. Emma discovered that Sarah had been speaking critically about her behind her back. Another friend mentioned that Sarah had downplayed Emma's success, saying, "Emma just got lucky, the art world is so random. It's not like she's that talented or anything." Shocked and hurt, Emma realized that Sarah's envy had been simmering beneath the surface for months, eroding the foundation of their friendship. This story exemplifies how envy often starts subtly but can intensify over time. What began as a few passive-aggressive comments turned into a pattern of backhanded compliments, minimized support, and, eventually, open criticism. Envy, when unchecked, can morph from a fleeting emotion into a destructive force, pushing people to hurt those they care about in their quest to soothe their own insecurities. Reflection. The story of Emma and Sarah serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of recognizing the signs of envy in relationships. Envy may begin as a minor emotion, but if it goes unnoticed or unaddressed, it can grow into a toxic influence that damages trust and connection. Subtle put-downs, backhanded compliments, and withheld praise are signs that someone may be struggling with envy. Recognizing these behaviors early on allows for a chance to address them, fostering healthier relationships and personal boundaries. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore more about how to respond to envy, whether it's in friendships, workplaces, or family settings, as well as how to protect oneself from its effects. Through awareness, empathy, and understanding, it's possible to navigate envy without letting it erode our lives or our connections with others. Chapter 2: Recognizing Falsehood. What is falsehood? Falsehood is the deliberate presentation of untruth, whether by outright lying, concealing real motives, exaggerating facts, or pretending to be someone one is not. Falsehood is often about crafting an image to protect oneself, gain approval, or manipulate situations to one's advantage. It goes beyond simple dishonesty. It can involve layers of subtle manipulation, where individuals say one thing but mean another, act with hidden intentions, or wear a mask that hides their true character. Unlike a simple lie, falsehood is often a sustained behavior, a continuous effort to keep up appearances or to craft a specific perception. The person wearing the mask might appear friendly and sincere on the surface but harbor entirely different intentions beneath it. The motivations behind falsehood can vary greatly. Some people lie to avoid judgment or criticism, while others do so to gain trust, power, or admiration. Being able to recognize falsehood in others is crucial, as it can help us avoid manipulation, protect our well-being, and foster healthier connections. The following are common signs of falsehood that can help identify when someone might not be entirely truthful. Signs of falsehood. 1. Inconsistent stories. One of the most common indicators of falsehood is inconsistency in storytelling. People who are trying to cover up a lie or hide their true intentions often struggle to keep track of all the details. Their stories may change in small ways over time, or they may contradict themselves without realizing it. For example, a person might tell you one version of an event, and then, when asked again, offer details that don't quite align. Perhaps they claim they were at home all evening, but later, they mention an errand they supposedly ran during that same time frame. These inconsistencies can seem minor but serve as red flags that something might be amiss. While everyone's memory can be faulty, repeated inconsistencies in essential details are a common sign of deception. 2. Over-explaining or under-explaining. Another sign of falsehood is a tendency to over-explain or, conversely, under-explain. Liars often worry that they won't seem believable, so they might provide excessive, unnecessary details to prove their story. They go out of their way to sound credible by painting an overly detailed picture, hoping the details will distract from the lie. However, their explanations often come across as rehearsed or excessive. On the other hand, some individuals may offer almost no detail at all, hoping to avoid scrutiny. These under-explanations can manifest as short, evasive answers or vague responses to specific questions. For instance, if someone is lying about where they were on a particular night, they might answer with a simple "I was busy" or "I was out," providing no elaboration. This reluctance to share information can be a way to avoid getting caught in a lie or revealing something they want to keep hidden. 3. Body language cues. Nonverbal cues can also be telltale signs of falsehood. People who are lying or hiding something often display subtle signs of discomfort, as maintaining a lie can be physically and mentally taxing. Here are some common body language cues associated with falsehood. Avoiding eye contact. While it's natural for people to look away occasionally during a conversation, those who are lying often avoid direct eye contact, especially when asked direct questions. They might glance down or look away, indicating that they're uncomfortable with the scrutiny. Nervous movements. Nervous or fidgety behavior is also common among people who are hiding something. They may touch their face, rub their hands together, or shift in their seat. These gestures stem from a subconscious attempt to release anxiety or discomfort. Overly rigid posture. Some people respond to lying by becoming overly controlled or stiff in their body language. They may keep their posture overly rigid and avoid gestures, as if they're afraid any movement might reveal the truth. This stiffness can be a subconscious attempt to hide their inner discomfort. Understanding these cues can help us navigate social interactions with greater awareness, allowing us to identify situations where someone might be misleading us. Case study: a story of hidden intentions. Let's follow the story of Rachel and Tom, two colleagues working in a competitive advertising firm. They had been on friendly terms for a while, often sharing ideas and collaborating on projects. Recently, Rachel had been working on a high-stakes campaign that, if successful, could lead to a promotion. She had trusted Tom with many of her ideas, believing that he was supportive of her career. One day, Tom approached Rachel, telling her that he had an idea that could enhance her campaign. He suggested they discuss it over coffee and invited her to a local cafe after work. Rachel was eager to hear Tom's thoughts, hoping his suggestions might add value to her project. But as their conversation unfolded, something felt off to her. Inconsistent stories. As Tom shared his idea, Rachel noticed inconsistencies in his explanations. At first, Tom mentioned that he had recently read an article that inspired his idea. Later, however, he said he had come up with the idea after a brainstorming session with their boss. When Rachel asked about the article, he fumbled and couldn't recall its name or where he'd seen it, brushing it off with, "I can't remember right now. It's just one of those things you come across online." Rachel felt uneasy. This inconsistency, though minor, planted a seed of doubt in her mind. She began to question Tom's intentions, wondering if he was actually trying to help or if he had another motive. She recalled another instance where Tom had taken credit for an idea in a team meeting that had originally been hers, rationalizing it at the time as a misunderstanding. Over-explaining or under-explaining. As they continued talking, Rachel noticed that Tom was going into great detail about certain parts of his idea, explaining the inspiration, possible angles, and even hypothetical audience reactions. But when Rachel asked him specific questions about how he thought the idea could be implemented, Tom's responses grew vague. When she asked, "How would you propose integrating this with my current approach?" Tom answered, "Oh, don't worry, it'll blend right in. Trust me, you'll see when you start implementing it." Rachel pressed further, but each time, he gave generalized answers without specifics. The over-explanation of some details and complete vagueness on others felt off to Rachel. She realized that Tom might be trying to convince her to take his idea without any real substance behind it. The evasive responses made her question if he had any genuine intention of helping her succeed. Body language cues. During their conversation, Rachel also began to pick up on Tom's body language. He seemed tense, shifting his posture frequently and avoiding eye contact whenever she asked pointed questions. When she inquired if he was thinking of using the idea in his own project, he hesitated, his eyes briefly darting to the side before he answered, "Of course not. I'm just here to help you out." As Rachel observed him more closely, she noticed how his hands fidgeted with his coffee cup, tapping nervously against the table. His facial expression didn't match his words. He was smiling, but there was a stiffness in his eyes, a forced brightness that didn't feel genuine. The disconnect between his words and body language fueled her growing suspicion that he wasn't being entirely truthful. Rachel's intuition and final realization. Leaving the cafe, Rachel couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She replayed the conversation in her mind, piecing together the inconsistencies, evasive answers, and body language cues. She realized that Tom's help was more likely an attempt to gain access to her ideas for his own benefit. Her intuition told her to be cautious, to protect her work and be wary of sharing further details with him. A few days later, Rachel's suspicions were confirmed. In a team meeting, Tom presented a new idea for his project that bore a striking resemblance to her campaign, using many of the themes they had discussed. When she confronted him, he claimed it was merely a coincidence, but Rachel knew the truth. By recognizing the signs of falsehood, she had managed to protect herself and, ultimately, her project. Reflection. This story illustrates how falsehood often reveals itself through small but telling signs. Inconsistencies in stories, over or under-explaining, and subtle body language cues can all hint that someone is hiding their true intentions. Rachel's attentiveness allowed her to identify Tom's deceit before it could do more harm. Recognizing these signs helps us trust our intuition, enabling us to protect our boundaries and avoid manipulative situations. Falsehood can take many forms, from minor exaggerations to deep deception, but with practice, it becomes easier to identify. By understanding these signs, we can cultivate relationships based on trust and truth rather than falling victim to hidden motives. Story 3. Chapter 3: How Envy and Falsehood Often Coexist. The link between envy and falsehood. Envy and falsehood are closely intertwined. Envy, with its focus on comparison and resentment, often drives individuals to mask their true feelings, leading them to deception. When someone is envious, they may struggle with their own insecurities or inadequacies, making it difficult to openly acknowledge their resentment. Instead, they resort to hiding their envy, feigning friendship, or even pretending to celebrate another's success. They may act in ways that outwardly seem supportive but are actually driven by a desire to undermine or manipulate. Falsehood, in this context, becomes a coping mechanism. The envious person crafts a persona that appears friendly or supportive to avoid revealing their true feelings and to position themselves closer to the object of their envy. This false front not only allows them to mask their resentment but also offers access to the envied person's life, giving them information they might use to their advantage. Ultimately, the combination of envy and falsehood creates a toxic environment where deception, manipulation, and insincerity thrive. Signs of this combination. 1. Gossiping or spreading false information. One of the most common tactics envious individuals use is gossip or the spread of misleading information. Envious people may feel the need to bring others down to boost their own sense of worth. To achieve this, They might subtly spread negative or exaggerated rumors about the person they envy, tarnishing their reputation or casting doubt on their character. This gossip often starts small, with comments that appear innocent but have a negative undertone, such as, "I heard they were only promoted because of favoritism," or "they're not as talented as people think." These remarks can gradually grow into full-blown rumors as the envious person tries to control others' perception of their target. Gossip serves as both a distraction and a release for their jealousy, allowing them to channel their insecurities while remaining seemingly innocent. 2. Feigning interest or friendship. Another common sign of this combination is when envious individuals feign friendship or support to stay close to the person they envy. By pretending to care, they gain access to personal details, achievements, and struggles that they can later use for their own benefit. This tactic involves masking true intentions behind a facade of loyalty, often making it difficult for the other person to recognize the deception. Feigning interest can be as subtle as regularly checking in on someone's projects, only to use that information in a competitive way, or as blatant as pretending to celebrate someone's success while secretly hoping for their failure. This false friendship might seem supportive on the surface, but underneath, it is fueled by a desire to undermine or manipulate. Case study: the story of Lisa and Kate. To illustrate how envy and falsehood can coexist, let's follow the story of Lisa and Kate, two colleagues who worked together at a popular design firm. Lisa and Kate had met at work and quickly became friends. They seemed to have a lot in common. Both were ambitious, creative, and highly motivated to succeed. Over time, however, their paths diverged. Lisa, who had started with the company a bit earlier, was promoted to lead designer, while Kate remained a junior designer. Although Kate congratulated Lisa, a quiet envy started to grow. Kate couldn't help but feel overlooked. She believed her work was as good, if not better, than Lisa's, and she began to compare her own achievements to Lisa's. As her envy grew, she found herself thinking about Lisa's success more often than she wanted to admit. Yet, instead of confronting these feelings, she chose to hide them, continuing to act as though she fully supported her friend. Feigning friendship. Despite her envy, Kate continued to interact with Lisa in a friendly manner. She would ask about Lisa's projects and even offer to help, appearing supportive and engaged. Lisa appreciated Kate's interest and often shared the challenges she faced in her new role. Kate, in turn, listened attentively, her tone full of encouragement, and even offered helpful suggestions from time to time. This allowed Kate to stay close to Lisa, giving her access to Lisa's plans, upcoming projects, and even her occasional self-doubts. But as time went on, Kate's friendly questions often became subtly probing. She would ask Lisa things like, "So, do you feel ready to handle such a big project? Or how do you think you'll manage if things don't go as planned?" These questions, though seemingly innocent, hinted at Kate's underlying hope that Lisa might struggle or fail. Lisa, unaware of Kate's growing resentment, continued to confide in her, seeing Kate as a supportive friend and colleague. Gossip and subtle undermining. As Kate's envy grew, she began talking about Lisa behind her back. She found small ways to discredit Lisa, especially around other colleagues who admired her. In one conversation with a mutual colleague, Sarah, Kate mentioned, "You know, Lisa has been really stressed with the lead designer role. Sometimes, I wonder if she's really cut out for it. I mean, just the other day, she was asking for my input on the project. I think she's struggling more than people realize." These comments were carefully crafted. Kate didn't outright criticize Lisa, but instead framed her words in a way that sounded like concern, making her appear supportive while subtly planting doubts about Lisa's competence. Over time, rumors spread, and people began to question Lisa's ability to handle her new responsibilities. Kate continued this approach, sharing selective pieces of information she gathered from her friendship with Lisa. Whenever Lisa shared a success, Kate would downplay it to others, saying things like, "Well, she got lucky with that client," or "they probably gave her the project because no one else was available." Each comment chipped away at Lisa's reputation without drawing direct suspicion toward Kate. Lisa's growing suspicion. At first, Lisa was unaware of the gossip. However, over time, she noticed subtle changes in how some colleagues interacted with her. They seemed less enthusiastic about her ideas, and she overheard a few remarks questioning her competence. Confused, Lisa began to pay closer attention to her interactions with Kate. She started noticing patterns, the way Kate's questions sometimes felt probing, the occasional offhand comments that didn't fully align with a supportive friend's tone, and the moments where Kate seemed oddly interested in her challenges. One day, Lisa received a message from Sarah, who, after hearing one too many comments from Kate, felt it was only fair to inform her of the rumors. Sarah shared that Kate had been spreading subtle doubts about Lisa's capability and leadership. Shocked and hurt, Lisa confronted Kate about the gossip. At first, Kate denied it, feigning innocence and claiming she had only ever tried to support Lisa. But as Lisa pressed her, pointing out specific comments and inconsistencies, Kate's facade began to crack. She admitted that she had felt envious of Lisa's promotion and that her actions had been driven by resentment and frustration. She apologized, but the damage was done. Reflection. The story of Lisa and Kate demonstrates how envy and falsehood can work in tandem to erode trust and damage relationships. Kate's envy led her to hide her true feelings, pretending to support Lisa while secretly hoping for her downfall. By masking her intentions, Kate gained access to Lisa's vulnerabilities and used this information to fuel subtle gossip that questioned Lisa's abilities. This combination of envy and falsehood is especially insidious because it doesn't reveal itself openly. The envious person often continues to act like a friend, gathering information to subtly undermine the other. It's only through careful observation, such as noticing probing questions, veiled concern, or negative comments from third parties, that one might become aware of the deception. For those who suspect they're being undermined in this way, it's crucial to pay attention to consistent patterns of behavior. Are there individuals who appear supportive but leave you feeling slightly diminished after every interaction? Are there friends who seem more focused on your weaknesses than your strengths? Recognizing these signs early on can help protect against the toxic combination of envy and falsehood. In the next chapters, we'll explore strategies for handling such situations, how to set boundaries, protect yourself from manipulation, and build relationships based on genuine respect and support. Understanding the link between envy and falsehood is the first step in safeguarding your well-being and fostering connections rooted in honesty.